Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next session or conversation with Interstellar Chats. This is your host, Carlene Selg, and I'm here with Kristen Anderson and James Spurrier, our two cosmic friends that are just going to give us all kinds of information today on time anomalies and synchronicities and just our experience and integration around those types of things. So let's jump right into it. And James, I want to start with you today. So let's do it. What do you got to say?
Oh, okay. Well, I had mentioned the work that I was doing in my meditation and in deep meditation, and I just came back from being at home with family. And when I got home, I really felt the need to connect. And I actually was feeling the need to connect with my star family, with a broader feeling of inclusion. And I had mentioned also in a previous episode about my near-death experience of seeing the beings working on me and attending to me. And so I called that in, and I felt like I was needing to have that connection. And so I had my meditative experience, and I actually was sitting right here where I'm at right now. And as I meditate, I often don't close my eyes completely, but they're closed and not closed. And I saw them. They came again, and I watched them tending to me. And it seemed as if I had asked for my own personal healings that I was wanting to have be worked on, but I called it in, and they came, and I was being worked on. And I sat here. It lasted for a good 20 minutes. And then I just was in the afterglow, I guess you could say, of the experience, because it was really incredible. And
So this was your star family, yes?
Yeah, it's the beings that were attending to me when I was very sick.
Yeah.
So they obviously have a relationship with me. And so I was very grateful that I got to have that experience.
That's great. I love that. So what can you tell us a little bit about the feeling? Like, what were you actually feeling when they were working on you?
Well, I want to say actually more of what it looked like.
Oh, okay.
Because this time I was paying attention maybe a little more, and it looked very much like I was in a fog, kind of. And I could see them just tending to me, and specifically working on this side of my head, which is right here. And I don't know what it was that exactly was going on, but this is the side of my head that I'm blind in this eye, and I have hearing issues on this side of my head.
Yes.
Well,
so were you feeling like physical sensation or buzzing or electricity, or like what were you feeling?
It felt, it's gonna sound so weird, but something about it almost felt like water. Like being in one of those mister spray kind of things. I can't really even put it into word, but it's much more foggy feeling.
Interesting. So yeah, I actually have come across another person who she literally facilitates water healing So I imagine it is our connection with our star family in that we're not being healed in a traditional surgery type way, like where you're at a doctor's office or a hospital in a cold room with every sterile metal equipment and all that kind of stuff, right? It's completely different. And there's texture and feeling and liquidity and just different flow to it, I guess, different feeling, and what you're experiencing is not to be completely knocked out and not even know or experience through, anesthesia when you're in a surgery. You're knocked out completely, right?
It almost was like atmospheric. Is it just like moist fog?
That's interesting. As you're talking, I've been going to the beach in the morning and swimming. I missed this morning. I slept in, but I've been really hyper present while I'm in the water, just literally feeling the water on my body. And I'm getting that sense that it was very like that. It's very like cloudy, gelatinous, thickness that probably somebody coming onto this planet, like maybe another entity coming out of this planet, would feel that air is like that, but we don't really feel that anymore because we're so used to it. But in the water, we feel it.
That's cool.
Yes. I was doing a healing with someone, an energetic healing on someone just 2 days ago, possibly 3, I don't remember at this moment, but it definitely had a mist quality to it. Like what the energy I was working with felt like a cloud almost, like just very misty. It had grays and whites and, just different colors that were muted, black and white colors. Like really, it was different shades of gray, really. And it absolutely had a water vapor misty feel to it when I was working with it. Interesting. Awesome. So what else? What else about this experience can you tell us, James?
Well, I'm just gonna give you my experience when I was in town. And so there's some components to it. And when I got to McKinney, my friend promptly after about 7 o'clock went to bed. And I was like, oh no, I'm awake. And so I walked downtown and I ran into a friend of mine, and it was great to see him. And but on my way leaving, I always do this crazy like body check. I always grab my phone. I feel for my phone in my wallet. And as I'm walking downtown, I run into a friend that I hadn't seen in a while, Crimson. And so I do my whole body check, and I got my phone and my wallet. And then I thought, before I'd left, or as I was leaving, I could have swore that I was like on my phone. But anyways, so I end up getting downtown. I see my friend and I want to take a selfie with him, and my phone's gone. And I'm like, oh no. And so I was so bummed because I don't know anybody's telephone number, and I'm not in, my town, and I have people that are coming to pick me up, and I can't, how are they going to get in touch with me? So I'm panicked. And unfortunately, I kind of cut my little visit with my friends short because I was so freaked out about losing my phone. So I rush back home, right? And so I get to Magda's, and laying there in the middle of the bed is my phone.
And you had already done a body check.
So exactly, not once, but twice. Twice. Mind you, I didn't look. And so I thought to myself, in my logical mind, I thought, okay, well, maybe I felt the square of my wallet and felt like it was the square of my phone. And But then I told this to Magda, and Magda goes, "Oh no, I watched you when you were leaving. I could see you out the window, and you were on your phone. You had your phone with you."
Oh, wow.
That's weird.
What the heck? Please, somebody. That
I
happened.
know.
What the heck? And so I thought, okay, well then maybe Magda, my friend's husband, saw the phone or whatever, and put it in the middle of the bed, and that didn't happen either. So that's very
This is
strange.
just one of those unexplainable things to our logical mind. But if you tap in and really feel into that, I would guess that whether you had it or not, you either jumped a timeline, got
Yes.
onto another timeline, or you dropped it and one of your people, one of your star beings, one of your masters, teachers, loved ones picked it up and put it in the bed so you would have it.
Okay, and so right after that, after I got home, I was the next thing that happened that was just so crazy is I'm an artist and I do pottery, and I had done this particular little series of pots that, whatever. And I gave one of them away to one of my friends, and I was sitting here with the other two looking at them on my table, and I went, oh geez, I wish I hadn't given that pot away. It's what I was thinking, And then when I was over at their house, I noticed that it was empty, like sitting in the pile of other empty pots. And I thought to myself, oh, well, I bet I could ask for it back and they wouldn't even care. Well, so then I thought, I wonder what if I made it where that just didn't even happen? I just didn't even do it in the first place, but it just didn't even give it to you, right? And I wonder if I can switch timeline. Well, and so like 2 days later, I go and I'm in my storage unit, and in my storage unit, I find my freaking pot.
Yeah.
You did it.
My storage unit. It's in my storage unit.
You did it.
It's in my storage unit.
I
Nice.
love that, because you are giving a prime example of us bringing our powers back online, and you're not even really doing anything other than having the intention. Well, what if I just changed the timeline and that didn't even happen? Right. And just by saying that, you changed the timeline.
Right. Or I made 4 pots.
Well, now you just threw a wrench in the whole thing, James.
But I didn't. I made 3. So crazy.
That's really cool. That's actually very cool.
I love it. Yeah. So today, strangely enough, or not, right? I had to take my car into the car dealership, and the super nice sales guy who sold us the car was like, well, I'll just, we thought it might only be a 15-minute deal with getting a light bulb changed or what have you, but it turns out it's the whole mechanism, and he's going to have to take me home. So I'm like, okay, no problem. It's like maybe 10-minute drive from the dealership. So he takes me home, and on the way to my house, he's asking me what I do. And of course, I just plain out tell him I'm a galactic shaman, and I run retreats and workshops, and I've been doing this work in one phase or another through my growth for 23 years, and I work from home, and I have a global audience and all of this stuff, and my clients are all over the world. And he says, that is fascinating. And first thing I think was, I thought he was going to pull over and say, you can get out and walk the rest of the way. But he didn't. He was just, and I actually want to say a lot of the times, I know this sounds weird, but, and I did say that, I know this sounds weird, but, and he goes, no, actually it doesn't. I said, okay, so you're proving my point. And I jumped right in as though we were already having a conversation about this. This proves my point that our powers, our collective consciousness of who we were always meant to be with our original biology is coming online. So yes, my mission is to help others be aware of that process and also activate them into an accelerated timeline so they can have it now. And they don't have to wait for their own individual experience to happen for those triggers to turn or switch on, and they are aware of and in full capability of using all of their powers, right? So I just jumped right into this conversation like he was already in the conversation with me and he was following along. It was like he was already in that conversation and was completely there in agreement, like, yes, it's fascinating, I'm there. He did not have 1 ounce of hesitation, like, no, this is totally weird and let's change the conversation. It was so amazing. Just like you, James, I feel like it was because of my intention shifted him more into alignment with what's meant to be for humanity.
Mm-hmm. And I love that you share that, because that makes it, that just goes even further and further and further and further. Yes,
truly. And it's just such exciting work. I love that I get to do this every single day. I love that I get to accelerate people's timelines and shift their alignment within timelines. It's amazing work. And literally, hi, Pierce.
Pierce and his friend Mario, they're going to go play chess.
Awesome. So yeah, I love that we're able to do this, and the work is in everyday experiences. It's not necessarily always in the workshop or the retreat or the scheduled event. It's happening every day in every experience that we have.
Yeah, every moment.
Yep.
Every moment of presence. And
I love it.
Yeah, it's very cool.
So have you had an experience like that, Kristen, where you're able to shift a timeline or shift someone into alignment like that? I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I think I've energetically just have shifted people around me drastically, but nothing that I would, put my finger on. But I do know this one story, and this is a third-party information from my brother talking about my uncle who was doing some sort of energy class. And basically at night, he would go into meditation and go down into the yard, walk out, but energetically walk out, pick up a rock and move it. And then in the morning, the rock was moved.
Oh,
right. And apparently once he went down and saw that the rock was moved, it freaked him out so much that he stopped doing it.
Oh, too bad.
Right?
So let's bring this to the audience even, right?
It's kind of interesting.
Let's see if the 3 of us can do that and bring it, practice it for a week or so, and then maybe come on and do an episode where we actually talk about the changes. But I would love for the audience to be involved as well and see if you can do this same thing, like in meditation, in dream time, with your intention before you go to sleep or before you start your meditation, before you call in your guides, connecting with your higher self, or in breath work and yoga, whatever it is that is your conscious practice. Have the intention to shift your timeline by doing something so simple as just going outside, picking up a rock and moving it to some place where you'll see it, and then check to see that it has moved. I think that's awesome.
It's pretty intense.
I'm gonna check to see if that pot is at my friend's house.
Yes.
Wow. There's your pot.
That's pretty cool.
So you're holding the pot that was at your friend's house. Now, what if, James, what if you have a pot and they have a pot?
I know. I don't know.
Parallel timelines.
That's interesting.
it does make me think of that Indian story where the guy has a ring that has to be thrown off into some abyss. And when he gets there, he sees that there are thousands of the same ring because it had happened over and over and over again.
Oh, wow.
That's interesting. That's very interesting. I mean, the only story that I have that's really pertinent to this conversation in changing physical matter would be the dice story. And I wrote a book about that.
Right, refresh us.
Right. So I was just very hyper present in the moment, and I was rolling the dice, intent on getting a number, which the number was 4. And when I rolled the dice, all of them were 4. And I was pushed, I will say, to do it again. And I did it again, and I rolled them all 4. And I was not believed, and I was pushed again, and I rolled them again, and they were all 4.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
You're blowing me away because I did the exact same thing.
With dice?
Yes, with dice. I was with my friend's daughter, and she had some Yahtzee dice and a thing, and we'd shake them, and we were wishing for a number, and they just came up every single time. One time it was 6 times in a row.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I know.
Crazy, but
Yeah, the
not
odds on
crazy.
that are incredible.
Like, they would kick us out of all casinos.
Mhm. And
Right?
I think it was just from the purity of our intention, because
Right.
we had so much joy in creating that with each time that we saw, oh my God, it was so much fun. I think that's how it happened.
Right. So what you're saying, James, is you're in the frequency of having that number come up. So you are in the joy, love, high vibrational frequency. Now, if we shift that and talk about, well, why don't we do that at the casino? Or why don't we do that when we're trying to pick the lottery numbers? You're not in the right frequency.
No,
No.
it's
So you
about
can't do
intention.
that. Right?
It doesn't work like, it doesn't work like that. I feel like when it happened with me, I was so present. My soul was doing that. I was overriding my body completely.
Mhm.
And it was just this feeling of nothingness and
And
a
oneness.
very matter-of-factness that I was just going to roll 4. I was like, okay, 4. And I just did it. And that was that. It wasn't spectacular in any way. It was just kind of, this is the way it is.
It's exactly the same thing. We were doing 6, and I said, okay, let's just get all 6. And we did over and over and over again.
That's so cool. Yeah. That's very cool. I've never met anybody else who did that. Hi, so nice to meet you.
And there are no accidents, right? We were talking
Love
about
it.
synchronicities as well. Here's a synchronicity in real time that we
Love
get to
it.
share with the audience, because I was just thinking to myself, we had a couple of notes we wanted to touch upon for this episode, and one of them was synchronicities, and here it is, just literally happening in real time. So we don't have to come up with it, right? It's amazing how this works.
We don't have to jump. One of the things I'm noticing now is like more people coming online, right? More people stepping into the reality of their superpower nature.
Mhm.
And it's just fun to talk to people and start realizing, the few of us I feel who are having these experiences, 20, 30 years ago, we felt very isolated.
Yes.
And now the network is forming. I'm like, oh, you had that too. Oh, you had that too. Yes, but I never told anybody, and we're sort of creating this web, and it's really cool.
It is. And I think what is also so cool about this collective awakening that's happening and coming online of all of our powers is literally when I'm talking, and this happened just in this last week where I have talked to more than one person. In fact, it's been 2 people specifically who said the same exact words. After I said, they asked me what I did and, you know, all the things, and I tell them again what I'm doing. And the very next words out of their mouth was, I think I'm gonna cry, because they felt finally heard, they felt finally seen and accepted. Like and all I could do was say, welcome home. Welcome home. You found your family, you found your tribe, you found your community. Let's link arms and just expand that, because that's what this is all about.
So cool.
Isn't that beautiful?
Unity.
It is.
Unity. Yeah.
It is.
I think that maybe at some point we should try and explore the law of one information a little bit with just the concept of the oneness, because I think that the oneness also goes to really present moment.
Sure. So
I love that.
at this juncture, let's ask the audience again, if you would, as you're listening, join in this conversation. Please give us a like for this YouTube channel and share it, subscribe, and also please put in the comments that you're going to try these little experiments along with us, with moving the rock and being intentional and jumping your timelines and coming back to the most appropriate alignment for your greatest good. That is, you know, the ultimate that we're trying to reach here. So let's do that. Let's make a commitment collectively to do that and come back and revisit this topic. Please comment below that you're doing it or that you want to do it and that you'll join us in the conversation. And yeah, I'm super excited to see what we create as a whole, as a collective. And with that, I want to say thank you for joining us again for this episode of Interstellar Chats, and we will see you on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.